Hey everybody, welcome to a bonus episode of Music and Moonsalts. Uh, Focusing on the music today. We are going today, or I'm going to, I should say, be reviewing the new Foo Fighters album. It's been out about 2 weeks. It's called Medicine at Midnight. It's really awesome. I'm going to tell you all about it here in a minute. Before I do that, um, if you're watching here on YouTube, awesome. Please leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. All that good kind of stuff. I also have started to release the audio in podcast form for you to listen if you're like me. I came to the conclusion that it's unfair of me to ask people to sit and watch, especially the longer videos, when I'm not really one to do that myself. So I'm much more of an audio podcast listener. So I decided I can post the audio of these shows. Currently, they are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Just search Music and Moonsalts, and you'll find them. Those are the three big ones. But if you just go to anchor.fm and search for Music and Moonsalts, it'll give you all the info on all the different places you can listen to the show if you would prefer to listen to an audio version. But if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a 5-star review or a 5-star rating and leave me a good review because that'd be helpful. Yeah, so just want to give you more options to take in the content, so to speak. But yeah, like I said, we're talking Medicine at Midnight. I finally got my vinyl in last weekend. So I've been listening to it quite a bit. The album. There's the record. And then here's the it's got another jacket with on the back. It's got all the pictures of the guys in the band in it. There we go. And then there's a lyric sheet somewhere in here. Yeah, here it is. Here's the lyric sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go track by track, tell you what I think of each song. And I've also, so in conjunction with the release of this album, Foo Fighters have their own channel on SiriusXM right now. So I've been listening to that a lot, and got some. One of the things they did is they went and track by track, and each member took turns saying stuff about a song. And then also, I've seen a few interviews that the guys have done with promoting this album. They just released a Spotify playlist where they'll play the song, and then Dave and Pat Smear and Rami Jaffe will talk about kind of how they recorded it and stuff like that. So not only will I give you my opinions on the songs, but I'll also any interesting tidbits I've found listening to all this stuff, I'll kind of pass along stuff that I think is cool. Overall, I really like this album. I think it's my favorite Foo Fighters album since Wasting Light, which is saying something because while I wasn't a big fan of the last album, Concrete and Gold, I did like Sonic Highways quite a bit. If you saw the show I did with my brother Kyle and our buddy Logan, the first 6 songs on Sonic Highways I love. The last 2 not so much. but the first six songs I absolutely love. But I think I like this one better. There's a couple songs that I'm not really into, but the rest of them, especially there's two of them especially that I'm just in love with. So yeah, I really dig the album. So the first song is called "Making a Fire," and it's so happens to be it was the first song that they recorded for the album too. And from what I've gathered, listening to all the stuff, unlike past Foo Fighters albums, where Dave would demo a bunch of songs and then give them to the rest of the guys, and then they would come in and record. This was kind of like more like a learn as you go process, where Dave wouldn't really let the guys hear anything until they go to record the song. So Making a Fire, the first song on the album, first song they recorded, it starts out with a cool Taylor Hawkins drum pattern. And one of the things on this album that they incorporate more than they have in any other point is the use of backup singers. So there's the drum beat, and then the guitar comes in, and then the backup singers start doing some nanas. And I have a theory. The way to make a good song even better is you either add nanas, lalas, cowbell, or hand claps. And this actually has two of those. It has nanas and hand claps towards the end of the song. But this is a really good opening track. Just a real good, solid rockin' opening track with a lot of groove to it. That's probably a word I'm going to use a lot talking about this album is groove, because there's a lot of groove on this album. It's just shy of almost like it's not a dance album, but there's definitely songs that you can dance to, I suppose, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not a dancer, but such is life. So like Making a Fire, I really like that song. It's a great song. Shame Shame is the second song on the album. It was the first single. Again, something pretty different. This is the first time that they've used a drum loop on a song. And basically what they did is just they had Taylor they recorded the album in a house that they rented. That was kind of like not quite haunted, but kind of creepy, I guess. But it had great like drum sounds wherever they set the drums up in the house. And so for this song, there was a stairwell with a landing that they set Taylor up with just a kick drum, a snare, and a hi-hat. And he did this simple 4-bar drum pattern, and they looped it, and that's the same pattern, no alteration throughout the whole song. So, and Taylor, one of the things I heard Taylor talk about is like he wasn't really sure about it because, like I said, this is the first time they've used it. But then he got to thinking. There's a Queen song. I think it's Dragon Attack. And then Don't Let Me Down. Or Don't Bring Me Down by ELO uses a drum loop like that too. So once he kind of thought about that, he was more okay with it. But yeah, it's a simple song, but it's really good. I liked it when I heard it. I know some people were kind of like, what is this? But I really like the song. Third song on the album, Cloud Spotter. And this was the last song that they recorded for the album. And it's got this cool Cool guitar riff, and I guess it's a riff that Dave has had for a long time, at least 3 years. And he kind of based it off of Going Back to Cali by LL Cool J, of all things. So he had this kind of, so you know, he just couldn't find anything to go with it, and he finally figured out the melody that he wanted to go with it. And it's really the first time I listened through the album, it was kind of weird because it's hard to hear Dave's vocals during the verses because he's singing really low. And he's like, and then I don't know if it's one of the backup singers or if it's Taylor doing the like a higher part. But it's kind of cool. And then when it gets to the chorus, it really kicks up and it rocks. It's got a really a big chorus. There's a part, where he's screaming bang bang bang. I can't wait till things go back to normal. They can tour. I can see him because I can imagine this song live is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to sing along with it. And apparently the riff he plays during the choruses has been around since before the first Foo Fighters record. Excuse me. So yeah, this is kind of like a hodgepodge of ideas that Dave's had kicking around for a while that he finally found use for. So that was kind of cool. It's that was probably my favorite song on the album up until this week. I think it's been replaced, but it's definitely, if it's not my favorite song on the album, it's like 1B, one of those type of scenarios. Song 4, Waiting on a War. This one I'm not as keen on. The story goes, and Dave's told this a bunch, it's kind of twofold. When he was a kid growing up outside Washington D.C., he was always worried about whether there was going to be a war, and he said he'd often had dreams of going into his backyard and seeing bombs drop and stuff like that. So then flash forward, while they're making this record, and one of his daughters asks him, are we going to have a war? And it kind of brought him back to having those feelings of when he was a kid. So he wrote this song. It starts out, him and an acoustic guitar, and it's kind of a mellow song for the most part until the end. And once it gets to the end, it really picks up tempo, and it becomes more of a rocker towards the end. But it takes a while to get there. So it's not, like I said, it's not my favorite or even close to my favorite. It's probably my second to least favorite song on the album. But I wouldn't say it was bad. It just, not really my cup of tea. I'll tell you what is my cup of tea. This is what I think is now my favorite song on the record. The title track, Medicine at Midnight. The more I listen to this song, the more I fall in love with it. I really love this song. It's like a combination of obviously the Foo Fighters, but it's like Let's Dance, David Bowie, and then like 70s Rolling Stones, like Miss You, like combined. It's just a really cool groovy track. the second verse especially, that's where I get the Rolling Stones. It's very to me very Mick Jagger-esque. The first verse is very David Bowie in Let's Dance, where it's very more of a calm vocal, and then the second verse he really like belts it out Jagger style. And then the solo is like it's not it's not a direct rip off, but you can like it sounds like it's related. It's like the distant cousin of Stevie Ray Vaughan's solo for Let's Dance. So I think it's a great song. I think it's the best song on the record, as I said. Yeah, it's I think when it's all said and done, it might be, if not in my top 10, close to in my top 10 Foo Fighters songs all time. I really love that song. Next we have No Son of Mine. This is the heaviest song on the record. It's got this big chunking riff, the heavy, fast. It's yeah, it's just a really straight ahead heavy rocker. So it's pretty good. Holding Poison. This song is I've heard them say this is probably the most Foo Fighters song on the album. I kind of get that. The intro to the song reminds me of White Stripes. Just the riff of the song, and then once the drum comes in, it's just kick drum, do do do, and it's gave me a very White Stripes vibe. But the rest of the song is cool. There's a cool breakdown where they play this, and then there's a guitar solo while the rest of the band is playing that riff, and then the background singers are doing this, just holding these notes. It's kind of eerie in a way. There's also a little nod to Queen, because he goes, I spin around, 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 around. It's kind of like Here I Am, a little bit. It's got that kind of a feel to it, but it's a good song. I like it. Next we have Chasing Birds, and this is probably not probably. It's my least favorite song on the album. But I do like it the more I listen to it. Again, to me, this one to me has a John Lennon, like the song Woman, that kind of a feel to it. Again, that's what came to my head when I heard it the first couple times. I'm like, well, that's what this reminds me of, type of thing. So once I figured that out, I think I liked it more. It's still, like I said, still my least favorite song on the album, but what can you do? Something's got to be at the bottom, I guess. And then the last song, Love Dies Young. And the story with this song is, Dave had this riff, and it was like just a straight dun 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 dun, and he was like, you know what? We've done that before. let's try something else. So then he switches it up to like a and then he has told Taylor to play like a dance beat, which he does. So the way I saw one interview where Dave described it as it's ABBA if Kiss played ABBA is what this song was. And once he explained it like that, I'm like, well, I signed me up. It's a fun little song to close the record. Yeah, it's a nice little peppy. I mean, with a title like Love Dies Young, you wouldn't necessarily think of it as peppy, but like to me, it's it's got some pep to it. So yeah, I kind of disco-y, I guess, but I don't know. I like it. So, anyways, that's it. That is my rundown of Foo Fighters' Medicine at Midnight. I definitely suggest you check this out. Like I said, I think it's a really great album. I was really happy when I heard it, and can't wait to hopefully see them on tour sometime soon. So, all right, that'll do it for me. Like I said, thumbs up on the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Or listen to it on Spotify or Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Leave a review there. All that kind of stuff. Tell your friends, all that good kind of stuff. So, yeah. Until next time, I believe next time you will see me, I will be joined by Mr. Matt Durr again, and we will be talking No Way Out 2001. I just finished watching that show, getting prepped for it for when we record. It's a great show. Can't wait to talk about it with Matt and talk about it with all of you guys. So, until then, see ya.